I'm Greg Tepper. That's Greg Powers. And this is This Week
in Recruiting.
It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers of Next Level Athlete. Follow him on Twitter at GPowerScout. Follow Next Level Athlete on Twitter at NextLevelD1. See his fine work at TexasFootball.com/recruiting. And this, of course, is brought to you by our good chicken friends. Our best chicken friends at Chicken Express. Shout out Chicken Express.
I run on Chicken Express. I run on this stuff. I mean, I love it.
I had
Sweet tea, chicken tenders.
Oh, I have some breaking news about Chicken Express. Sorry. I don't know if you know this. So, you know, they got you get the tenders, they got the spicy and the regular, right?
Spicy's the way to go, but yes.
So, I like spicy, but I don't want them all spicy. They got mix and match now.
You've always been able to have and have.
Well, I didn't know that, but I was able to do it the last time, and I was perfect. It's a perfect amount of spice. Anyway, that's
the question is do you take a bite out of each one at the same time? Yeah. You take a bite out of each chicken tender at the same time.
Ooh, see, that's
next level.
That's next level from our friend at Next Level Athlete. Okay, let's get to This Week in Recruiting. A lot to get to in the recruiting world here at on Texas football today. We're going to start with our prospect on the rise. You're going to notice that there is a little bit of a flair for the state championship games here. We're going to start with our prospect on the rise. Our prospect on the rise is Denton Ryan, 2021 safety Ty Marsh, who was a superstar in Denton Ryan's big win over Cedar Park in the 5A Division I state championship game. It made his impact felt in all three phases of the game. He was at one point a Houston commit. Now he's starting to catch fire, get a few more offers. It's amazing what happens whenever you have a big game on the biggest stage.
Well, I mean, there were a lot of big-time players on the field that day. Jatavion Sanders was a man amongst boys. You had Austin Jordan at corner, Bear Alexander in the middle. Anthony Hill has dozens of offers. But the guy who I think is like the guy you could pinpoint to say, hey, this could be the reason why Denton Ryan won a state championship is Ty Marsh, because he's all over the field in all phases of the game. Offense, defense, special teams. This guy just steps up to make plays whenever his team needs him, and he was like that all season. His senior highlight reel is just really fun to watch, and we're only watching highlights right now from him in one game, and he was making a tremendous play. So this is a guy who I think fits into that hybrid safety type of role in college. I don't want to just say like he's a true coverage safety, because he's so good at tackling and coming up into the box to make stops that I'd want to work him into the run stop game as well. But just a guy, if you have space and you're looking for a great Texas high school football player, then look no further than Ty Marsh. This is a note to all those colleges still looking. Take a chance on this guy. I don't think he's going to disappoint.
No, he was all over the place for Denton Ryan in that game. And as you mentioned, there's a lot of stars on that field in that game. And to stand out the way that he did, I thought was very striking. Ty Marsh, certainly a name to know, especially on that Denton Ryan defense, as they are the 5A Division I state champions. Let's move on now to our commit of the week. Our commit of the week, we're going back to a team that played in the state championship game, although this gentleman unfortunately did not play. Although I think he'll just take the championship ring that Katy brought home. We're talking about Katy 2022 defensive end Malik Sylla, who has pulled the trigger. He has committed to Texas A&M. He had offers from all over the place. Big-time in-state offers like Baylor and Texas, major out-of-state offers like Alabama and Clemson, Georgia, LSU. Everyone wanted Malik Sali. This is a four-star guy in Dave Campbell's Texas football. He is heading to the Aggies. I know he hurt himself during their playoff run. He wasn't able to play in their state championship win over Cedar Hill, but there's plenty of tape on him, and all the tape is real good.
Yeah, and he's going to be one of these guys who's in that five-star top five mix. I think by the time the dust settles, he's probably a certain top 10, top 15 prospect, and then we'll try to make sure that we pick the best guys to go into that top five to be 5 stars. And he's got all the traits that you're looking for in a defensive end. He's tall, he's long, he's quick off the football. But I think one thing that you have to take into account when you're evaluating Sylla's film is that he plays, a disciplined type of game in that Katy defense. He carries out his assignment, and that's not necessarily always there, pinning your ears back and getting after the quarterback. He's a guy who will be college ready because the pass rushing traits are there, but he'll also be college ready because he's going to do what he's supposed to do, snap in and snap out, and that Katy coaching staff is going to have him ready for that. So this is a huge pickup for Texas A&M to secure a commitment from one of the top players in the state, regardless of position in that 2022 cycle, and he's their first commitment in that cycle. So a way to get the ball rolling there for the Aggies.
Yeah, a good start, and especially recruiting at what is already a position of strength in that defensive front. They're becoming a bit of a destination for the star defensive lineman. We're talking This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers, an excellent athlete here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation and hashtag TF Today. All right, let's go to our underclassmen of the week. Our underclassmen of the week, going a little bit off the board here. Let's go to Bremond, Texas. Bremond, of course, has put out big-time prospects in the past. They've got another one in their 2022 defensive tackle, JaRay Bledsoe, who has an argument at this point to being the hottest recruit in the state. This is a guy who at the 2A level, he's playing both sides. When you're 6'4", 260, they're going to ask you to play both sides. But this is a guy who the secret is out on JaRay Bledsoe.
He got the Texas high school football recruiting trinity this week. He got Texas A&M, and Oklahoma offered him all in 1 week. I kind of expand that out to 4 schools now because you wanted to see LSU, and it would be no surprise to see the Tigers be quick to offer this guy as well. He's a monster. I mean, just watch the highlight tape. It's rare that you see big men like this move so effectively. And guess what? JaRay Bledsoe also rushed for over 1,200 yards. Can you imagine being a linebacker and seeing this dude bearing down on you? Oh, my goodness. It has to be super scary when that happens, especially at their level. And he's a physical tackler. We saw that last clip where he's just decimating the ball carrier and bringing them down with authority. Sky's the limit for this guy, and he's only going to be more highly recruited as more people find out about his tape. He's just now starting to take off. So he picked up I think it was 5 offers this week, all Power 5 to add to Baylor and Oklahoma State. So he's up to 7. We might be talking about him quite a bit, and I'm pretty excited to continue to talk about him because this tape is just so fun to watch.
Yeah, he's a guy that this is not the last we're going to hear about him, and especially when you get to the 2A level, if you're able to dominate like he has been able to, this is a guy that you're going to hear a lot about as JaRay Bledsoe, the defensive tackle from Bremond, the junior entering his senior year now in 2022 there at Bremond. Finally, let's round it all out with our Recruit of the Week.
Hang on.
Recruit of the Week is
pickle.
a guy that we just had Craig Way on yesterday. And I told Craig that of all the stars that we saw at the state championship game, I think the guy who impressed me the most was Austin Westlake 2022 quarterback Keke Klebnik. I knew he was good. I knew he was a terrific prospect and a great player. He put on a clinic in their win over Southlake Carroll. 18 of 20, 220 yards and a touchdown. He also ran for 97 yards. And as a result, he's getting a few offers, including he got an offer from Texas A&M this week. Keke Klebnik, I had high expectations, and my expectations were blown away in this one.
What did you think his best attribute was while watching that game? Because I was super impressed by his poise.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, so, I mean, this guy, he picked up Texas A&M this week. I think that was his 27th offer. We talked a little bit about him going into this game, that he was going to be matching up with Quinn Ewers, who is, I guess, basically been stamped and cemented as the number 1 quarterback not only in the state but in the nation. But really, Cade came out and outperformed him on the state's grandest stage, and I think really narrowed the gap in some regards in a lot of people's minds of how big that gap's going to be between Ewers and Klubnik. I think that he's probably now can be considered as the number 2 quarterback in the state behind Ewers, but where will he fall in within those rankings? I mean, I had him pegged in my mind, like just kind of heading into this season as a top 25-esque type of player, but I think after watching him in the state championship game, he's going to be a legitimate candidate for that top 10. And just like yourself, I was blown away with what he brought to the table. And I knew he could run a little bit, but I didn't necessarily know that he was that savvy of a runner. He knew when to pull it down. He had a quick burst, and he could really keep the Southlake Carroll defense at bay with his feet because they had to respect him on the ground as well. I think he rushed for 97 yards in that game.
That's the thing that when you go, obviously all eyes in that 6A Division I title game was on the quarterback matchup. And I'll say this about both Klubnik and Ewers. I thought that, you mentioned the poise. I thought that their pocket awareness, their ability to feel pressure, their ability to stand in and not panic for both of them is really what set them apart. Yeah, I mean, look, both of them obviously have really impressive arms. I thought I was watching their feet, and I thought for both those guys, for Klubnik and for Ewers, it was easy to understand the hype because of how comfortable they felt in the pocket.
I agree, and this is a good point of conversation because the Bucs beat the Saints in the playoffs, and Tom Brady is that guy who he just never seems to put the ball into bad situations, right? More often than not, Tom Brady's making quick, good decisions on the football field, and I saw some of that in Klubnik too. It's like he didn't put the ball out there where it was going to be in peril, and he was able to process really quickly to make that happen, and that was super impressive to me. And special shout out to his big-time 2023 wide receiver, Jaden Greathouse. That dude's going to be special, too.
He's Greg Powers of Next Level Athlete. Follow him on Twitter at GPowersScout. Follow Next Level Athlete on Twitter at NextLevelD1. And, of course, see his fine work at TexasFootball.com/recruiting. Powers, appreciate your time, my friend. We will do this again, not next week because I'm off next week, but in a couple of weeks. We'll do this. We'll circle back. I'll text you.
Sounds good. Let's see y'all then.